What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to It's Aiden Conspiracy or something like that. We're reacting to the vanishing flight of 370, aka the Malaysian Airlines that I think went down in, like, if I'm not mistaken, 2013. Let's see. Flight disappear. I think it was like 2013, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2014. All right, it was 2014. And it was like in like it was like in Asia or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Holy shit, I'm carrying my team. Jason, that's Aura. Okay, so yeah, YouTube guys, if y'all like the video though, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. We want more conspiracy videos of what you think is gonna happen. All right, let's get into the video. It's a 24-minute long video, so we're probably gonna make it right around hopefully 30 to 40 minutes. So let's see. I don't know. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, March 18th, 2014. So yeah, they instantly said it. Aiden does not like men. Oh, hi. Dude, I don't like men. 25. Is this one? Okay, that's the private time.
Malaysian 370, good morning. Malaysian 370, standby.
At
Right.
Kuala Lumpur
How long is the video?
International
It's
Airport,
like 24 minutes long. It's 24 minutes long. So if you just want to like relax for like 24 minutes, you can stay in it. If not, you can just leave. It's fine. You're back. You're good. You're good.
We are ready. Requesting flight number 350 to Beijing.
Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 is a daily passenger flight between Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia and Beijing,
Beijing.
China.
Okay, I was right. I was thinking that.
370, 32 right of takeoff. Nice.
42 minutes past midnight, Flight 370 is given clearance to depart. On board are Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, 10 cabin crew
What's up,
members,
Cod? What's
and
up, Cod?
227 passengers.
220. Wait, how many passengers was that? 227 passengers. So that's like what, like 239? It's like 239 people, right? Garbage can at what for what? And can you please stop DMing me about sending me feed pics? I can't see that never happened. I caused this accident. Dude, you weren't even alive, bro. This was 2014. I don't think you were even alive, but I survived. Yep, that's how math works. All right, Blanca, no need for the fucking attitude. All right.
And 27 passengers.
227 people. That's insane, though.
Number control, Malaysian 370. Malaysian 370, Lumpur, radar, good morning. Climb flight level 250. Morning, level 250, Malaysian 370. Malaysian 370, climb flight
You're
level
banned and be
350.
quiet.
Climb level 350, Malaysian
Alright.
370.
Less than an hour into the flight, the plane is cruising over the South China Sea at an altitude of 35,000 feet. The night sky is clear,
Alright.
and the weather is calm. Flight 370 is then instructed to signal air traffic control in Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, as it is about to enter Vietnamese airspace. The flight controller in Kuala Lumpur says goodnight, with no sign that anything should be amiss.
Malaysian 370, maintaining level 350. Malaysian 370. Malaysian 370, maintaining level 350.
So he knows the average comms between
Malaysian 370.
air traffic and the
Malaysian
pilots. I'm
370,
pretty sure these are average comms.
20,
Pre-fires, you know, all that stuff.
Good night, Malaysian
Bro, I was born in
370.
2014. I just came out of the womb, evil bro. Dude, yeah, you're banned. Jinxie clone.
1
That
minute
bro.
and 43 seconds later, the aircraft suddenly vanished from radar
Oh,
screens
shit.
in Kuala Lumpur,
So it just
Ho Chi
instantly
Minh,
vanished like that.
and Bangkok. This form of positional
React
tracking
better.
depends
How am I
on a
supposed to
signal
react
being emitted
better?
by one of two transponders aboard a plane, and so its disappearance would suggest both transponders cease to function.
So it legitimately, like, it like what? Like, it exploded? Like, so it, like, legitimately just exploded then, like, at this point. Like, or, like, it disappeared. If both of them went off at the same time, my cock was so big they ran into it. That's disgusting. What is that even supposed to mean? Someone farted an emo bomb. An emo bomb? Oh, someone farted did you mean that right? Someone farted an EMP bomb. Yeah. All right, let's
the
see.
system was manually deactivated.
So it
by someone
legitimately,
on board.
like...
All subsequent attempts to contact...
Okay,
and
so it's
ascertain
either deactivated, which would make no sense because both pilots would have to... So it's, guys, so either someone deactivated it or it legitimately just disappeared. It just took a shitter right in the fucking ocean. Either exploded on impact to some type of uneducational force, or someone turned it off. Either the pilot. The only person that'd be able to turn it off is legitimately the pilots. Why are we banning Thatcher? That's a good question. It might have been mute, actually.
Whereabouts of Flight 370 are
Add me on
unsuccessful.
Snap. Oh, I'm not gonna
The
add you on
aircraft
Snap yet,
has
bro.
seemingly vanished without a trace. After missing its scheduled time of arrival in Beijing some 4 hours later, Flight 370 is officially declared missing. And in the wake of
Damn,
that
that was
announcement,
quick.
the most expensive search effort in aviation history is about to commence.
Damn! The most I'm leaving because it's boring watching an accident I caused. Cause you never caused this accident. It's both transparent, so they'll be able to track the plane. Only one failed, but both at the same time. Yeah, that's what it's saying right now, is both failed at the very exact same time. Like, legitimately, both failed at the very same time. But it's both going to be able to track the one plane. Yeah, so, like, it wasn't just one. It was both of them. So that means, like, someone either manually turned them off. The only people that would be able to do that is the co-pilot and the pilot themselves. Or it was, like, another person in general. Yes, I did. Love you. Oh, my. No, you didn't. God.
Search was initially concentrated around the location of the flight's disappearance between the South China Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. The search area was soon expanded, however, after the Malaysian military disclosed additional information. Unlike the radar system employed by air traffic control, long-range military radar does not rely on transponders but use reflectance to track the position of aerial targets. A review of the data collected by the Malaysian military revealed that moments after contact with Flight 370 was lost, the aircraft had deviated from its scheduled flight path with a subtle turn to the right, followed by a prolonged turn to the left. The aircraft had
So it's like they literally saw like a fucking UFO or something like that. Damn, no love you too. I see how it is. Hey, COD, you're leaving when you're supposed to be a mod. Makes no sense though, because there isn't a black box or some airplanes have. Look, no, they do have a locator box, but you have to find the black box. Like that's the only way you can like determine. Like a black box is something that like you find in the plane itself to determine like exactly what happened. You have to find the black box in order to do that. Like you can't determine anything with a black box if you cannot find the black box. Like the black box is fine, I'll lurk. Thank you, COD. Like the only way to determine is that okay? Yes, yeah, that's fine, COD. Promise. It's like so they legitimately saw something that made them shit their pants here. Like they saw like a UFO or some shit come up in here, shit their pants, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going back here. We're going back
towards and across the Malaysian peninsula before turning right near the island of Penang.
So these guys are legitimately. These guys legitimately just did they're going. They're cruising. They get to this point. They see a fucking pterodactyl in the air. Pull the fuck. They pull off. Shit their pants. Pull off. They shit their pants so much they pulled all the way over here. Yeah, so it can be in the ocean because the black box has a locator beacon that can be detected underwater. So it had to have crashed on land or very deep water. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, they're barely only found remnants on the plane, but not the plane. Yeah, they found, I'm pretty sure they found the wing. They found, like, a part of the wing. They found, like, all this different stuff. And they found, I think, like, little burn marks of, like, scorched stuff. So they might think that, I think they think that, like, some stuff happened to the plane itself. Like, they got burnt up or some shit, like, mid-plane, and then they just crashed. Yeah, so they either crashed on land, sucked up into a UFO. Hey, you never know. You never know. That pterodactyl might have came up, grabbed him. If you say demolition, though, I will appear in 00 point. Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it, God. I don't doubt it. All right, let's see.
Coverage. Over the next few days, the Strait of Malacca, the Andaman Sea,
and
the Bay of Bengal was scoured by a multinational
like
fleet
a whole
of
entire
aircraft and vessels.
Wow,
but there was no trace of Flight 370. Meanwhile, investigators began to analyze the aircraft's satellite communication records.
Okay.
Like all modern airliners, Flight 370 was equipped with a satellite communications terminal, or SATCOM, to send and receive transmissions to and from the ground. Prior to departure, the SATCOM terminal had logged on to the satellite network and established a connection with a ground station in Perth, Australia. That station then maintained a detailed record of all the incoming and outgoing traffic between it and Flight 370. This is what it contained. Prior to the flight's disappearance over the South China Sea, everything appeared to be working as intended. Then, at some point during this portion of the flight, the SATCOM link was severed.
So they legitimately go like this. So they go like, they're going fine, they're en route, something happens here, like right here. They go off course a little bit and they pull off, which is wicked weird. And then this is where they disappear. They disappear right up in here.
For whatever reason, the terminal ceased to respond. But 3 minutes after the flight vanished over the Andaman Sea, the terminal requested to log back onto the network. The SATCOM link was
What?
successfully re-established and was not disrupted
And then they
again until nearly
re-log
6
in. So
hours
the
later,
alien,
when
the
flight is
alien got on
presumed
the
to have
plane,
crashed
plugged
due
their
to
shit
fuel
in.
exhaustion.
Let's see what we got going on here. And then they saw nothing.
During these
They saw my
final
dick and got
hours,
scared.
2 attempts were made to
Ooh.
contact the plane via satellite telephone. Both calls were acknowledged by the SATCOM terminal and would have been routed to the cockpit. Yet, they went unanswered. The terminal had also responded to
what the
5 automatic
fuck?
status requests. In short, if the ground station had not
So
heard from the
they're-
aircraft in over an hour, it would transmit a signal to confirm the terminal was still online. While these transmissions did not contain any information about the flight's position, investigators were able to measure the distance between the satellite and the aircraft at the time of each transmission, based on how long it took those transmissions to be sent and received. This generated 7 rings of possible locations from which 7 of these transmissions
The
are
plane was
thought
still
to have
intact days after
originated.
the
By
disappearance.
taking fuel consumption, speed,
Yeah,
and
someone
other
hijacked
factors
it for
into
real.
account,
The
flight
thing
path
about
ana-
the hijack though, if somebody hijacked it, they wouldn't just hijack a plane and not ask for anything and just crash into the middle of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Why would they hijack a plane and legitimately just do nothing with it? That's like the one thing I have. That's like for instance like with 9/11. Well, there are motives. Yeah, there's motives, but like the thing about those, like the motives, you would do something with the motives. You wouldn't just like fly into the fucking ocean. You would fly into a building. Like especially if you're going to Beijing, if you're scheduled to go to Beijing, you would just fly into a Beijing building because Beijing's a huge city. Well, some people don't want to live. Yeah, I mean absolutely, but I don't feel like there would be any reason for them to like. The plane was still intact days after the disappearance. Yeah, I mean like legitimately, I don't even know what this could be. Like honestly. But like I was thinking like a hijacking, but I just don't think a hijacking would just make it to where like they didn't make no demands. There's no demands at all. There was nothing at all. And like, what's up, Mito? Hey, how are you, Aiden? Mito, I'm doing just dandy, Mito. How about you, my
indicated the
friend?
most probable origin of the final transmission to be somewhere along this arc in the southern Indian
So
Ocean.
by Australia.
The search
Gotcha.
effort shifted accordingly, and as the region fell within the jurisdiction of
was
Australia,
North
the
Korea.
Australian
North Korea did
government
that.
took charge of
Yeah,
the
there's a chance.
operation. Over the next few weeks, the search area was progressively
God, that never
refined
happened.
to account for oceanic drift as well as improved estimations of the flight path. But this part of the southern Indian Ocean is so remote it took 6 days just to get there. A new fleet of aircraft and vessels
The thing
gradually
about they
covered
flew
more
over their province. No, they didn't. They never went over North Korea's provinces. North Korea's province was like up in the peninsula more by like it was up higher by Beijing. They didn't even make it toward. I don't think they even made it in China's airspace. They didn't even make it towards China's airspace at all. They were by like the Philippines and stuff like that, like in India. Still was North Korea. They weren't even near North Korea. I think it was again. They didn't pass Vietnam. Yeah, they didn't pass anywhere near that. Give me money, Chopper. I can't just give you fucking money, Chopper. I can't just give you money. So it could have been jets outside their airspace. They would see that though. They would see them in like their airspace. It was between Malaysia and Vietnam where it went silent. And then exactly could have been the middle missile. No, I don't think it could have been a missile. They would have seen that. Scammer. What do you mean scammer? They would have seen that pop up in like their stuff, like their stuff. But my dick grew twins and got scared them. I hope you get muted. All right.
than 4.5
really?
million
Alright.
square kilometers of ocean, but Flight 370 was nowhere to be found.
Right. March to April. Okay, that's pretty, yeah.
If the impact with the ocean had been sufficiently forceful, it was possible the resulting sound had been recorded by underwater listening devices known as hydrophones.
They're
This
undetectable
possibility
jets.
was investigated,
That is true, but not with
and
North
4
Korea.
hydroacoustic monitoring
No, not a
stations
missile either, because
had
they called the
recorded
cockpit
something.
days after the disappearance, which indicates the plane wasn't damaged or destroyed. Yeah. Okay. Intriguing. You can hear something hitting the
While
ground.
the timing and direction of the sound were reasonably consistent with the final satellite
So
transmission,
that's like someone taking a
the
shit in the
estimated
toilet
origin
and like being
was
able to hear
not.
it.
The sound was in all likelihood caused by
Like how it makes
nothing
that
more
little
than geological activity.
in the water. It's
Flight
kind of like that at
370
that
was
point.
also equipped with 2 underwater
So they,
locator
like-
beacons which had a battery life of some 40 days. And as the
Right.
deadline approached in early April, signals with a pulse and frequency somewhat similar to the signal emitted by the beacons were detected at depths of up to
I just
3,000
shit myself.
meters.
Oh, that's Aura.
An autonomous
mute you.
submersible then spent
You're
weeks
talking to the
scanning the
tinfoil hat
seafloor
guy.
where the signals had been detected, but
Exactly.
no wreckage was ever found.
That's weird. So they had a ping. They had like a ping from the plane
And
itself.
nothing would be found
But
until
nothing
more than
pop-
16
like, when they went
months
to the
later,
sites, nothing
when a
popped
discovery
up.
was made on the opposite
So they're just getting
side
ghosted by
of the
Malaysian
Indian
Airlines.
Ocean. On the 29th of July 2015, a group of people were cleaning up a beach in Reunion, a small island to the east of Madagascar, when they stumbled upon this 2-meter-long metallic object covered in barnacles. Aviation
That's
experts
what
quickly
barnacles look like? Ooh, why the fuck do they look like some alien-ass creatures? Dude, that's the alien eggs. I'm trying to play Phasmophobia. So, sorry. So, why I didn't even realize barnacles even looked like that. It looks like... Ooh, looks like some alien
metallic
shit.
object covered in barnacles. Aviation experts quickly identified the object as a section of an aircraft wing known as a flaperon. Upon closer inspection, internal markings including dates and serial numbers conclusively ascertained the flaperon belonged to Flight 370.
Oh shit.
Even
okay.
though Reunion Island is some 4,000
another
kilometers
threat to a
west
piece
of the
of
search
power.
area, and more than a year had gone by since the flight disappeared,
Wow,
the
what happened?
location was consistent with simulations of debris dispersal patterns. There was now tangible evidence that Flight 370 had crashed somewhere in the Indian Ocean.
So
The
it possibly
discovery
could
of
have
the
crashed.
flaperon prompted numerous searches along beaches and shorelines of southeastern Africa, and at least 31 additional items of interest have since been recovered and examined. Some of these items include a section of the outboard flap from the right wing, a piece of cowling from one of the 2 engines, a partial door from the
real
nose.
quick. Wow, what's up? So like, I mean, what do y'all think though? What do y'all think it was? I'm thinking it could be a lot of stuff. It could be aliens. It could be alien. God, are you in an ad right now? I'm keeping it going.
Landing gear,
What's up,
a
2K?
section of the vertical
2K, what's up,
stabilizer,
2K? What's up, Cubs?
and a mangled casing from one of the embedded headrest monitors.
Oh
18
shit.
of these items were identified as either likely, highly likely, or almost certain to have originated from Flight
crash
370,
would have been the
whereas
result of the
only
plane
3
running
could
out
be
of
confirmed.
fuel.
The remaining
That
11
is
could
true.
not be identified. There were no traces of an explosion found on any of the debris tested, nor was there any evidence of a fire except for 3 small burn marks on one of the unidentifiable
So there's a couple
items.
burn marks.
The search for debris was further
that couldn't
aided
even
by
be a part
Earth
of the plane,
observation
legitimately.
satellites. Analyses of satellite imagery from March of 2014 uncovered a number of images which appeared to feature man-made objects floating on or just below the surface in the southern Indian Ocean. However, the images were not nearly sharp enough to resolve any identifiable markings, and multiple
Right.
searches notwithstanding, this debris was never recovered. A satellite image taken mere hours after the final transmission also captured what appeared to be a contrail some distance away from the search area. A later analysis, however, concluded it was most likely a shadow from a somewhat linear cloud formation.
Okay. That's wicked weird. So there's just different
The
type of
underwater
stuff in
portion of
general.
the search continued for months and eventually years before it was finally suspended in early 2017, by which point some 120,000 square kilometers of seabed had been scrutinized. The search effort was then resumed by an American salvage company known as Ocean Infinity, but after more than a year of searching,
Y'all think this-
they
yeah,
too
he's covering
came
it
up
up.
empty-handed.
I don't think they can even.
Unless
That's
the
not in their
final
jurisdiction. I
resting
don't
place
think
of
they
Flight
can't even go in that
370 can be
jurisdiction.
located, it may be impossible to determine exactly why
I mean, hey, you never
it
know.
crashed.
Fucking UFO came out of nowhere,
Nevertheless, there have been no shortage of
blew the plane
theories.
up. I mean, that's a high chance. I'd say that it's a higher
On
than
the
a
day
0%.
of the disappearance, 2 of the passengers raised suspicion as they had boarded the flight with stolen passports, which immediately prompted concerns of
Right.
a hijacking.
Maybe the
But
hijack is
investigators
true.
were unable to link the 2 men to any terrorist organizations, and soon determined they had traveled under false identities because they were seeking asylum, not due to any nefarious intent. Similar suspicions were raised when one of the passengers were identified as a flight engineer who might have possessed the necessary expertise to take control of a Boeing 777. Apart from the 239 persons on board, Flight 370 carried nearly 11 metric tons of cargo. Among the items listed on the flight manifest was a shipment of lithium-ion batteries.
Oh, there it is.
Which led some to suspect a fire might
I
have
don't even understand why batteries still have lithium in them. At least, or why they go by plane. Lithium batteries are terrible. They will burn up like nothing.
Out mid-flight. For instance, the crash of UPS Airlines Flight 6 in September of 2010 was the result of a fire that was ignited by a pallet of lithium-ion batteries. Another potential source of ignition would be an electrical malfunction. The crash of Swiss Air Flight 111 in September of 1998 is thought to have been caused by a fire within the electrical wiring above the cockpit. The fire damaged and disabled multiple avionic systems, including the transponders and SATCOM.
So legitimately,
in the case of Flight 370, the
there's a
sudden
couple
loss
things
of
that legitimately
communication
could have
and
happened.
subsequent deviation from its scheduled flight path might have been a direct response to a fire. The two pilots may have turned back towards Malaysia to attempt an emergency landing at the nearest suitable airport.
But that wouldn't make any sense though if they didn't land. Like, why wouldn't they land or try and contact the ground if it caught on fire and stuff like that?
No such attempt was ever made. Instead, Flight 370 kept going and remained aloft for another 6 hours. Some have theorized the crew might have been incapacitated by a sudden or gradual loss of cabin pressure. For instance, when Helios Airways Flight 522 failed to pressurize in August of 2005, the pilots quickly fell unconscious. Yet the aircraft continued to fly on autopilot for more than 2 hours until it ran out of fuel.
That's insane. So like with autopilot, wow, that's insane. Like, so with autopilot, they just kept going with autopilot. So they just kept on going with autopilot. Did they crash or crash near? So they crashed. I was gonna ask, is it like auto landing and stuff like that, or is it like, did it like automatically land, or so? Yeah, that's crazy that they can actually like autopilot can just take over like that.
Continued to fly on autopilot for more than 2 hours until it ran out of fuel. Airline pilots are of course trained for such an event. In the event of cabin depressurization, an automatic system is designed to deploy oxygen masks to give the pilots enough time to perform an emergency descent to a more breathable altitude. The data recorded by the Malaysian military radar does indeed contain altitude information, but it is highly inconsistent. In fact, the Boeing 777 is incapable of performing the extreme altitude fluctuations recorded. At one point, the aircraft exceeded its maximum operating altitude by more than 50,000 feet before making a 50,000 feet nosedive in less than a minute.
What?
Attempts to recreate these maneuvers on a flight simulator were unsuccessful, and thus the data was deemed inaccurate and unreliable.
It literally just did a nosedive. Completely, just a complete nosedive. It legitimately is like when you're like shaving your bush and you get so close to the skin, like you got like a crazy bush, and then you get like wicked. Oh, okay, so that's like unbelievable amount of like. We all have seen the video by Joe Bart. We've all Joe Bart actually did a video on this. Is there a tournament anytime soon? I don't know yet, really. So this could definitely
if Flight 370 did lose
I wouldn't say this can't be
35,000 feet, and the pilots were incapacitated before descending to a more oxygenated altitude, it might explain why the aircraft remained aloft for as long as it did.
You fucking kidding me?
What is a bit more difficult to explain, however, are these alterations in heading. Flight simulations have established the aircraft must have been under manual control during the initial left turn, as the bank angle or inclination of that turn was beyond the limits of the autopilot. Subsequent turns, however, could have been either manual or automatic. But for the autopilot to have made these course corrections, someone with the requisite knowledge must have programmed it to do so. The only other alternative is that the aircraft was in fact under manual control.
So someone's manually controlling it then at this point. I leave now. The focus on the phone. Be with a friend. You're good, Cod. You're good. Later, Cod. Oh, it's
in
done?
late June of 2014, several news outlets reported that a special investigation had identified the captain of Flight 370 as a prime suspect. A search of the captain's home had uncovered a flight simulator which supposedly contained a suspicious route which ended
Love
in the
God,
southern
love God.
Indian Ocean. At the time, there was no official acknowledgement that such a route had been recovered, and a lengthy public report issued by the Malaysian government in 2015 made no mention of such a discovery. Then, in 2016, confidential documents pertaining to a forensic examination conducted by the Royal Malaysia Police in May of 2014 was leaked to the media. These documents made it clear that such a route had not only been recovered, but thoroughly examined. Soon thereafter, the Malaysian government confirmed the existence of this simulated flight path, and this is what it looks like. It should come as no surprise that many regard this as damning evidence of premeditation.
Simulated route.
But according to investigators,
So they have a simulated
it is not
route
quite
and then
so evident. The data
What?
recovered consists of 7 coordinates: 2 in Kuala Lumpur, 2 in the Strait of Malacca, 1 in the Bay of Bengal, and 2 in the southern Indian Ocean.
So it's legitimately like a
The
blind
data-
man trying to shave his asshole or something like that, or like his pubes. It's literally like this guy. Like it's literally just going all over the place. And then you get too close to the nut, and then you knock it off. But like I don't. How is that even like feasible? So like so someone's actually controlling it then at this point. Someone's got to be controlling the plane. Now they're saying that the chief pilot was. Now they're saying the chief pilot was a culprit. Are they saying that?
Was reconstructed from a file that had been
That could
automatically
make
generated and
sense,
saved by
actually.
the simulation software a month before the incident. However, it's not clear whether the coordinates originate from the same flight session. In other words, it might not be correct to simply trace a
could make
continuous
sense.
line between
I
these
feel like it
7
just depends on
coordinates,
like
as they
the
could be from
pilots
separate
or the
sessions.
chief pilot's like
The forensic
relationship and like where he
examination by the
was
Royal
mentally.
Malaysia Police simply concluded no activity captured conclusively indicate any kind of premeditated act.
The chief
pertaining
pilot
to
could
the
make
incident
sense,
of
actually.
MH370. Even so, the similarities between the simulated route and the presumed route of Flight 370 directly influenced the search operation. Australian investigators considered the possibility of someone deliberately extending the range of the flight by gliding the aircraft off the fuel exhaustion. If so, the plane could have traveled an additional 200 kilometers. Alternatively, the range could have been reduced by
What?
controlled ditching prior to fuel exhaustion. While ultimately deemed unlikely, these two scenarios did affect the search effort. If the captain steered Flight 370 off course with the intention of crashing in a remote part of the southern Indian Ocean, his motive is an even greater mystery.
Tech, we're not getting into that.
Zahari
Tech, we're
Ahmad
not.
Shah was 53 and married with 3
Tech.
children.
Oh, this is
He
the
had
chief
more than
pilot.
18,000 hours of flight experience and a
Golly.
spotless track record.
Tech, we're not getting into
Investigators
that
found
1
no
hour
evidence
segment.
of financial issues, and his monthly expenses before the disappearance indicated nothing unusual. He had no history of mental illness, nor had he displayed any recent changes in lifestyle or behavior. He was raised on the island of Penang, which has led some to speculate that
that's like
flight's
the
second
chief.
turn to the southwest of Penang was the captain getting a final
It's gonna
view
happen,
of his
it's fate.
hometown.
It's not
Some
fate
believe the
of you fucking
hijacking
me
could have
my
been
asshole.
politically motivated,
Tech,
as
that's
Zahari
not
was
fate.
an avid supporter of a democratic opposition leader who was sentenced to 5 years in prison mere hours before Flight 370 took off.
Oh shit, okay.
Others point to unconfirmed reports of marital issues, but this is contradicted by the official investigation and disputed by family members. The only real inconsistency noted by the final report is that the captain failed to repeat the assigned radio frequency during the last verbal communication.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
GX, what's up, GX?
It would have been standard procedure to repeat the assigned frequency as the captain had correctly done a few minutes prior.
370, contact Lampu radar 1326, good night.
Alright, 1326 Malaysian 370.
That's weird.
Whether this
Crash, I
omission
love-
is indicative of
Crash, we're not
anything
getting
but a
into that,
mistake
Crash.
is anyone's best guess. By all accounts, Captain Zahari was an affable and well-respected pilot
Oh, look at that guy.
who was passionate about
That guy's got a
aviation.
flight simulator in the back. He's got a full flight simulator in the background. You know, this guy's kind of locked in with if he's got a whole flight simulator in the background in his house.
As evident by the photos and videos
Oh, he had a
shared on
YouTube
social
channel, too.
media.
Hi everyone, this is a YouTube video that I made.
No, I don't think this guy would. I don't think this guy would kill everyone.
Community service.
Seems pretty trustworthy.
After learning.
The co-pilot was found to be even less conspicuous. Farik Abdul Hamid was only 27, and due to marry a fellow pilot, he had nearly 3,000 hours of flight experience, although only 39 hours in this type of aircraft. Much like Zahari, Farik had no financial, mental, or interpersonal issues of note, nor was there any
there's
evidence
no
of conflict between
problems
the two of
at all
them.
mentally
Some
or like
questioned the plausibility
at
of
all
a
with
pilot
them. It's just
instigated
legitimately
hijacking due to the
them.
apparent lack of interference by the other pilot. Well, when Ethiopian Airlines Flight 702 was hijacked by the co-pilot in February of 2014, he did so by merely waiting for the captain to take a bathroom break before locking the cockpit door behind him. The co-pilot was then free to divert the Italy-bound flight to Switzerland to seek asylum.
2K, what's
the
up,
only
2K?
noteworthy piece of evidence
2K
in
sound.
regards to the
2K,
co-pilot of
what
Flight
is it, 2K?
370
What's wrong?
is his phone. You see, when the confidential documents were
Oh.
leaked, they also confirmed another long-circulated rumor, namely that a cell phone tower had briefly established a connection with an iPhone 5S belonging to the co-pilot as Flight 370 approached the island of Penang. According to investigators, it was not a phone call as has been widely reported by the media, but merely an automatic location signal. Why this information was omitted from public reports, we may never know.
That's weird.
So what is one to make of all of this? On the one hand, the simulated flight path seems suspicious. On the other, it is difficult to cast any substantial doubt on either of the two
Yeah, I don't know.
pilots'
These
character.
guys seem pretty normal. I'd probably trust my kids. I'd probably trust them if I saw them normally. If they had like a Craigslist post of them babysitting, I'd probably let them watch my kid. So this Malaysian Airlines covered it up. It seems like they're covering some stuff up. So there's a chance, guys on the phone, there's an alien outside our window right now. They're literally mooning us right now. We can see the alien's asshole. The acid green asshole. It's literally winking at us with its asshole. You have a kid? No, not actually. No. I'm saying figuratively, don't even give me that sticker. Don't even try. I'm like, in general, though, you have a kid? No, dude, luckily I don't have a kid. But you know what I'm saying? Like, in general, though, like, these guys they look pretty normal. They look like you could trust them.
It is equally difficult to deny a hijacking is consistent with the available evidence. Then again, we're missing some quite major and literal
the co-pilot's
pieces
phone
of
contact was
evidence.
using data. They just waved
The
it
final
off.
report
Yeah, that's what it
issued
seems
by the
like they
Malaysian
did.
government in 2018 could not attribute the loss of communication nor diversion of Flight 370 to a malfunction. Instead, it is believed that someone manually manipulated the aircraft and its systems.
That's weird.
For instance, investigators believe SATCOM was manually disabled by a sudden and prolonged interruption of power. Then, once power was restored, the terminal simply rebooted. Likewise, the alterations in heading
That's
are
weird.
believed to be the result of manual inputs. With that being said, the uncertainty of these findings are repeatedly emphasized due to the limited evidence available, and the
Yeah?
report does never explicitly
up?
state the flight was hijacked.
What's up?
In fact, no real conclusion
Yes,
is
I will.
reached.
Yeah.
Both the Malaysian and
Yes, I
Australian
will.
government agree that
Yes.
Flight 370 crashed in the southern Indian Ocean, but that the cause is indeterminable without the wreckage, the location of which has managed to elude some of
Well,
the
it's phone
foremost
connected.
aviation
Yeah,
experts
so like
in
it
the
was
world,
using data.
as well as an impressive arsenal of cutting-edge
Make a
technology
suggestions channel,
for more
gang.
than half
I do have a
decade.
suggestions channel, I'm pretty sure.
Authors,
I don't actually know
aviation
that.
experts,
I'll
and
put that right up
independent
now.
investigators have all chimed in to offer their own thoughts and theories as to the nature of the crash and the location of the wreckage. Some believe there was no crash, but that the aircraft was shot down by an American naval base in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The satellite transmissions were then supposedly forged as part of a massive cover-up. Others
Alright,
believe
there
the
we go.
aircraft turned right towards India and traveled as far north as Kazakhstan, completely undetected. Debris was then supposedly planted along shorelines of southeastern Africa
No, that would make
as
no
part of a
sense.
massive
I
cover-up.
don't think that would make any sense.
Another theory
No,
suggests the
you do
aircraft
call it
was
way more
remotely
extreme.
hijacked and
I'll
controlled
do
by
that in a
someone
minute,
on the
actually.
ground. While Boeing and other companies have experimented with technology that would allow for an aircraft to be remotely controlled, no commercial airliner is known to be outfitted with such a system.
What do you mean, yawning? You already have it.
On the
You
less
are.
conspiratorial
Alright, I'll add
side,
another
the
thing about,
assumption
like,
that Flight
conspiracy videos
370
in
flew
general.
in a straight line and at a constant speed after turning left towards the southern Indian Ocean might simply be incorrect.
Is it over
In
yet?
early 2018,
Oh my
a French
gosh.
team of independent investigators proposed an alternate flight path, whereby an attempted landing on Christmas Island led to a crash site much further north than the region identified
Is that
by
the same
official
place where
investigation.
Millie Earhart went missing?
While a surface search of this area was conducted about a week after the disappearance, the underwater phase never reached this far north.
Shoot, that could be it there too. Well, intriguing. I
As
mean,
of
really.
the making of this video,
Oh.
the search operation has been suspended,
Oh, it's
but
been
there have been
suspended
talks
again.
of potentially resuming the search.
I mean,
For now,
it's probably it's summer. I'm not trying to be in geography. Geography, motherfucker. This would be history of all things. I mean, pretty cool though. Pretty cool.